Multinational enterprises are investing in and sourcing from developing countries on a large scale. Their activities may have positive impacts as well as negative impacts on issues related to human rights, labor rights, and the environment. In addition to legal avenues, non-judicial grievance mechanisms can be used as an approach to seek remedy for victims of human rights abuses and other violations by companies.
We found out through different sources that there were allegations of breaches to international labor standards with regard to a specific task, detasseling corn, regarding temporary rural workers, lower labor standards with regard to lodging, to food, to healthcare.
Where the company moved that's local communities, there was not a good land to make a field, there was not access to good water, to school, to the hospital.
The company tried to break up the union, and they also did a lot of abuses. Most of the workers who joined the picket line were injured.
It is important for communities all over the world to get access to remedy through different grievance mechanisms. A grievance mechanism is a formal, legal or non-legal complaint process that can be used by individuals, workers, communities or other civil society organizations that are negatively affected by business conduct. For example, in the area of labor rights, human rights, the environment or corruption. Which standards you can actually use depends on the standards that are covered by the particular grievance mechanism. Grievance mechanisms are also sometimes called dispute or complaint mechanisms.
We take the case as victims themselves. They don't have the means to go there.
There are many different grievance mechanisms. Companies may have their own operational or so-called company-level grievance mechanism, where workers can directly lodge their complaints. There are also sector-specific grievance mechanisms, within, for example, multi-stakeholder initiatives. Then there are grievance mechanisms at the national level, sometimes, for example, available within national human rights institutions. There are grievance mechanisms at the regional level, for example, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. And at the international level, we have among others the OECD guidelines for multinational enterprises. If you want to address cases of corporate misconduct through grievance mechanisms, one of the first steps is to document the violations and identify the company that has caused or contributed to the harm.
We requested copies of official reports, we interviewed the trade union, we went to different areas of the government.
We went to see that people, to organize them, to talk to them, and to collect the problem they had.
Secondly, it is important to define which grievance mechanism could be used in your particular case and which specific standards or principles have been violated by the company. Usually, the next step is to prepare and write a complaint letter, outlining which violations you have identified and what your desired outcomes of a complaint process would be. If your complaint is accepted by the grievance mechanism, the next step is to engage in a process which, depending on a particular mechanism, may include investigation, fact-finding or mediation, hopefully resulting in a successful outcome.
As much as possible, we want to resolve the cases by doing some dialogue with the companies.
But why should you use grievance mechanisms?
NGOs and communities that use grievance mechanisms may be faced with a number of challenges in seeking effective remedy, and that is mostly due to the voluntary nature of these mechanisms, and therefore there's no guarantee that your problems will be solved through the use of this mechanism. However, we do see a number of important benefits, and therefore we think it is worthwhile to consider filing complaints with these mechanisms. Such potential benefits could include that you may be able to change the policies and practices of a company, to prevent, mitigate or stop certain company operations and activities. You may also be able to successfully negotiate compensation and get remedy for affected communities and workers. You may be able to achieve a fact-finding mission to establish violations. This in turn may result in a formal, authoritative statement by the mechanism. You may be able to bring international political attention to your case and raise public awareness and public pressure on a company. Finally, you may be able to increase shareholder pressure by encouraging investors to exert pressure on the company or even divest from the company.
In less than 1 year, we did the research, we had the case, this is a mediation process, we had several meetings with the company, and we came up with an agreement that we could monitor.
For me, it's a message for the company that will help companies to understand they can't destroy local communities.
They were able to pressure the company to talk with us.
We could say that this was a successful case.
SOMO's program focuses on assisting organizations in identifying whether and which grievance mechanism can be used to seek remedy, and advocates for strengthening these mechanisms and increasing their effectiveness. Please visit us at www.grievancemechanisms.org.